Hi, hello. Welcome to my vlog. My name is Gopi Krishnan Hari and I'm a filmmaker. I'm currently a student of London Film School. Just back home in my hometown in Cochin in Kerala since a few months now due to the COVID lockdown and all that stuff. So I've been doing a couple of vlogs. It's just my first in English. I did a couple of them in my language in Malayalam. So I've been thinking about what should I do in vlogs, and I was thinking I'll just start with my thoughts, ideas that I share, conversations with friends, and all that. So the first one I was thinking of this book I read very recently. It's called Animal Farm. I believe most of the regular readers would have definitely read this book. I'm a very slow reader, and this has been on my list for very long. And lockdown was a good time, so I read this finally during the lockdown. This book is like so beautifully written. I these This quote is what attracted me the most. It says, "All animals are equal, but some are more equal than the others." So that was the line that attracted me to this book very like much earlier. Uh, this is by George Orwell, and what I love the most about this book was the whole idea about power between people and the politics and all that, and we keep talking about it everywhere. So what I was interested was that the connection I made with this scene from a very popular television series called Game of Thrones, which I used to be a great fan of. I'm still a great fan of. And in Game of Thrones, I had written this article, I think, around 4 years back in my blog. I'll just put a link here. Please do read and let me know what you think about it. So, in this particular scene in Game of Thrones, there are these two characters called, uh, their names are Varys and Tyrion Lannister, two of my favorite characters in the series. And they are some of the most clever, probably the most clever and smart people in this series, where the story is all about warriors and knighthood and all those stuff. And there is just two characters who uh, live through all that struggles and battles with their smartness. When these two confront each other in a room, I was very curious to learn about their, what are they going to share. And there was this very interesting riddle put forward by Varys. He says, so Varys starts off saying, "Are you fond of riddles?" And Tyrion is like, "Why am I about to hear one?" And Varys starts off like this: three men sit in a room, a king, a priest, and a very rich man. Between them stands a common sellsword, sorry, and each of the three men orders the sellsword to kill the other two. Who lives, who dies? And you see Tyrion first says that it depends on the sellsword, and then Varys asks a very important question, like very relevant question. So if he holds, if it is so, then why do we consider king as the head of everything? So you find Tyrion finding it difficult to answer the question, and then Varys says, "Power resides where men believe it resides." And I was very curious. This guy was building it up, and then what is he going to give the answer as? And it was, power resides where men believe it resides. And I found it very interesting because I thought about Adolf Hitler, for example. It's a short guy who ruled kind of one of the uh, biggest, probably most important or popular empire. Uh, how powerful he was in controlling the minds of people and his military. So I wonder. I mean, definitely he's not the most powerful in the military in the German force, and many people can easily beat him down if they want. But they followed him and they obeyed him with terrible fear. So that was something that I was very curious about. So it's all about belief, if you see. So yeah, starting from Adolf Hitler to a lot of power struggles. If you look at many struggles that's happening and a lot of politics being discussed, from gender to race, religion, in many aspects in different parts of the world, you see somewhere there is, I mean, in many contexts, pretty much openly, there is the idea of power, and it is, and I think power is transformed in many ways. Sometimes the one in power kind of goes down naturally at some point. Sometimes they're defeated. Sometimes it is snatched away, and there are clever people who makes it. But at the core of it, if you look at most of the propaganda, there is always the idea of belief, and that's where what Varys says becomes very relevant. There is belief that is being instilled, and there is this study done on how what once we think is impossible and a big offense can be we can be educated out of it, made to believe entirely the opposite, exactly the opposite thing, with time and with very clever propaganda. Uh, so, so the belief becomes kind of the core of power, and probably power has to do a lot with a lot of subjects around us. And that's where, coming back to this book, Animal Farm, I think Animal Farm was really has beautifully illustrated this thing about power play. I don't want to reveal the story, but it's basically animals bringing a whole new ideology called animalism, and outthrowing humans. But then eventually they see things repeating. So it's the story of human beings. And it's a story of power, and it's a power play basically. And when I linked these two things, and the idea of belief and how belief was given at different stages, religions have done this, traditions have done this. But how I identified this was that with the idea of self-confidence. So we have different ways we go behind money or relationships or job, thinking of being part of a company, starting our own company. As a filmmaker, I think of making, if I could make a film like Christopher Nolan someday, I'll be, great or feeling happy. But still, definitely, there is an idea of power somewhere inside all that. And I think it all starts with belief, and it's not out there, but it's always with you. Even ancient knowledge has said, in your subconscious and unconscious, there is answer to every problem. Now, that's something completely different, and I don't want to go into that right now. But there is this so much power for belief, and power is based on belief, and belief has so much power. It's so first we got to have faith in ourselves, as we say, and I think that becomes a cycle, and that gives you some good results, and that becomes a more stronger reason to believe in yourself. So before going into the outer politics or between kingdoms or countries, as it's happening today, as it's happening now, I think this idea of power has got a lot to do with self confidence and self esteem. So I think that is how I related to it, and I'm happy to know. I'm curious to know other thoughts. If people could share in the comments or somewhere, it would be great. So I think that's the main takeaway for me from this book and from the scene in Game of Thrones. I shall definitely put the article I wrote. So do share your thoughts on that as well. So yeah, that's it. I think that was a good topic I could choose for my first vlog. I'm actually back home relaxing, and it's actually raining here. It's monsoons in Kerala. It's the best time to be here. It's like tropical place with we're having like heavy rains here. I think it's disturbing me a little bit in the noise, but that's okay. So also right now I'm in a containment zone with the COVID spreading in my area. So we've been watching it in views, and finally it's here. So all these just, I think, added to my reason for finding ways to express it through a vlog. So really curious to know how it will grow from here. I do ask people to share your thoughts, and hoping to come up with a lot more videos very soon. Yeah, thank you. See you guys. Take care. Tough time it is. Take care.